Let me guess, you're planning a move to the Charlotte, North Carolina, or maybe South Carolina area, but you don't know North Charlotte from South Charlotte, east to west. It all seems the same when you're looking on a map and you need a little bit of guidance as to where to hone in your search. Well, you've come to the right video. In this video, I am going to specify each area of Charlotte and give you a little bit of background as to what might make it the best option for you. Stick around to the very end because I've got a little known area that might actually save you thousands on your home purchase and give you all the amenities that you're looking for. Now, if you stumbled upon this video, welcome to my channel, Living in Charlotte, where I talk about everything Charlotte, North Carolina, and South Carolina, helping those make the move, relocate, or maybe just move across town. Go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button to stay up to date on everything going on in Charlotte, including market updates. Now, I actually get calls, texts, emails, Zoom invites every single day from people just like you looking to make the move to Charlotte, North Carolina and South Carolina. So if that's you, all my contact information is in the description below. Seriously, reach out. I'm a real person. I'm here to help you, whether it's 9 days or 90 days from your move, whether you're coming across the world, across the country, or just across town. We're here to make your move exactly what you want it to be. So let's dive in. Now, if you've already started looking online, you've probably already become a little bit overwhelmed. Everywhere in Charlotte is the best place in Charlotte to live. Well, guess what? There are many places in Charlotte that could potentially take the cake for the best place to live, but it all depends upon who you are and what you're looking for. So I'm gonna highlight some of the larger areas of Charlotte so you can get a better sense of what to expect. This is going to include the style of homes that are there, price range, what's available for amenities, schools, and more. So buckle up your seatbelts, folks, and let's get going. Now, first off, I want to point out Charlotte as a whole. So as you see here, we have the Beltline of 485 that goes all the way around Charlotte. Now, as I'm going through this, I'm gonna first be discussing everything inside the Beltline, and then I'm gonna point out some great areas outside of it. Here's the thing, when we're talking about Charlotte, especially when we're talking North Charlotte, South Charlotte, many people depict this as being inside the Beltline. So for this discussion, we're gonna go ahead and stick with that. So anywhere North Charlotte is gonna be in the northern area of the Beltline, and South Charlotte in the south part of the Beltline. Now, if we zoom this map out, we see that there's all of these areas around the Beltline. That's right, Charlotte is expanding at a rapid pace. With that being said, there's also expansions in infrastructure, roads, etc. But all of those bands of towns that are around Charlotte are also expanding. So for the purposes of this video, we're going to talk about that northern area of the 45 belt, the lake area. The south side is going to be the Ballantyne area. To that southwest is going to be the Fort Mill, South Carolina, Lake Wylie area. And to the east of the 485 belt, we're going to go ahead and just refer to that as the locust or east part outside of Charlotte. So let's dive in now that we have our directionals. So let's start right in the smack dab center of Charlotte, and that is Charlotte proper, otherwise known as Uptown. Now, I'm from New York. I know I always say downtown, so if you hear me refer to that, it's just me being a New Yorker. I'm sorry. So Uptown Charlotte is a location where you'll go for sports, you'll go for entertainment such as concerts, and you'll go to there to work. However, it is actually more rare for people to go to Uptown than it would be for them to go into the South Charlotte area for entertainment, food, etc. There's a lot of reasons for that, but a lot of it has to do with lifestyle. If you go to the Uptown area, it's mostly condos, limited parking, and you're paying for all of your parking spaces. Outside of Uptown, you have more options for parking. It's possibly a little less congested, a little less traffic, and there's less events that go on outside of the Uptown area. Now, if you're looking for that city life, Uptown is exactly what you're looking for, with convenience of Whole Foods and a walking distance, convenience stores, restaurants, shopping, you name it, and one of the most expansive overhead tunnel systems in the country. There's actually an elaborate system of tunnels or elevated walkways throughout the Charlotte area. In fact, they shut down the production of these over the years because they realized it alleviated foot traffic on the main roads, which led to a decrease in sales. So That's why we have not expanded that, but it is one of the largest in the country, and it's actually pretty cool. So as we leave Uptown Charlotte, we're gonna go to the west. Now, the west area of Charlotte is where you're gonna find the Charlotte International Airport. Now, while some don't consider this a residential area, there's actually a lot of homes and townhomes and condos in this location. Just outside of the 277 belt, which circles Uptown Charlotte, there's actually some fairly high-priced homes and condos and townhouses right in that location. Biggest reason is the convenience. You've got convenience to anywhere in the Charlotte metro, and you've also got convenience to the airport. Now, the further south on 77, still to the west of it that you go, you're gonna find a lot of changes in the homes. They are gonna get a little bit bigger. The prices are actually going to get less expensive as you go out, and you're gonna find there's a lot more options. Now, the nice thing about this is you've got pretty short commute times. If you go to the airport regularly, again, short commutes. The downside of this area, if we take a look at the crime map located on niche.com, you're gonna notice that there is a slightly higher crime rate, especially closer into the city and closer to those more warehouse or industrial areas which come with an airport. Now, that being said, there is a large section right on the other side of the airport, right by the Catawba River, which is here very soon going to start to be populated with what we call the River District. They have not broken ground yet, but it is planned to be one of the largest planned communities where you can drive your golf cart all day long if you really wanted to. The nice thing about this, it's been completely undeveloped, so they're starting completely from scratch. It also gives beautiful access to Lake Wylie and the Catawba River, making it an ideal location if you're looking to move into something new and luxury. All right, so flipping our way over to the east side of Charlotte. This is literally called East Charlotte. So if you're on the east side of Charlotte within the 45 Beltline, there's a few things that you're going to notice. Now, of course, closer to Uptown, you're gonna have some great neighborhoods such as Plaza Midwood, Noda, Belmont. Belmont is a neighborhood and a town, by the way. The neighborhood of Belmont's what I'm mentioning. Commonwealth, as well as other areas such as Country Club Heights. All of these areas are absolutely gorgeous. You're gonna notice smaller homes, higher prices, again, because of that proximity to downtown Charlotte. See, I did it, downtown, uptown, it's the same thing. So where is East Charlotte? Well, of course, it's to the east, but what flanks it is I-85, if you take a look at the map, on the north side, and Independence, otherwise known as 74, to the south side. This whole section here is considered East Charlotte. Now, what you're gonna find is homes that are averaging in the 350 to 450 range in this area. You're gonna have, I would say, medium level schools, usually rated in about the 6 out of 10 range. Now, this is not a bad thing. The schools are still phenomenal, in my personal opinion, compared to many of the others that I've seen in other states. But if you were looking for the top-notch schools, there's other areas of Charlotte you want to look in. Now, the other thing to consider about this area, you have some homes that are new construction in newer developments, but what's really nice is there's actually a scattering in many areas of older homes with more property. So if you're looking for a bigger bang for your buck, this might be the location you want to look in. Now, some of the downsides to this is if you are commuting into Charlotte or South Park for work on a daily basis, you're gonna sit in some traffic. Now, I know traffic has gotten better, but when I first moved to Charlotte, I lived in this area just off of Albemarle Road. The challenge was if I left 5 minutes later than I wanted to, well, I was gonna sit in traffic about 20 minutes longer going to South Park. So it's something to consider, but if you're looking to get into Charlotte and you want to keep your budget intact, this may be a great location to start your search. Now let's talk about North Charlotte. Now, if any of you had seen my video talking about how North Charlotte is the best, I still do think that, but I'm not referring to North Charlotte proper. Where I'm really referring to is north of Charlotte, meaning Prosperity, up towards Huntersville, Davidson, and that region, north of Charlotte. When we're talking in this video, when I say North Charlotte, I mean everything between 85 as the lower border and 485 as you see in the map right here. So all of this is North Charlotte. Now there's a northeast and a northwest. The northeast side, directly outside of Uptown, does have a little bit more industrial, more warehouses. The crime rates are a little bit higher in this area. And let me point this out. Every city has crime, you guys. This is just where it's a little bit higher. Now, this whole area in the east, however, the northeast, is actually split up into two sections. Once you hit W.T. Harris, the other side, it actually feels like a completely new neighborhood. The schools are a little bit better, the prices go up a little bit, and you have a lot of conveniences such as Trader Joe's, Harris Teeter, nail salons, you name it. This whole area up here is called Prosperity. The area just south of W.T. Harris is called Derrida Statesville, and a few other neighborhoods within that. Now, both are great places to live, but you're going to notice a major difference and shift in the neighborhoods as well as the schools. Now, if we go to the west side of I-77, this area up here is actually still being built out. And in fact, there's been a lot of new construction that has picked up land in this area because it's one of the few untouched locations in Charlotte. Some of the best parts about this is you're going to get properties with more land and still have the conveniences of shopping, easy access to Uptown, and easy access to three main interstates, 77, 85, and 45. Now, if we are looking in North Charlotte, this entire area up here, this quadrant, my favorite area by far is going to be Prosperity. Prosperity is my favorite area, probably still in Charlotte, mostly because of all the conveniences. Literally anything you need is right there with very little traffic. In fact, the Providence area up here has so many conveniences, including the third largest business park in Charlotte. That's right, it's right off of I-85. Wells Fargo has one of its home bases right there, so you might actually live not too far from here. Now, just south of I-85, that's where you're going to find the University of Charlotte right there. So there's definitely a lot going on, including the train line that goes right from the university all the way down Tryon and down into South Charlotte, which brings me to our next location. Now let's talk about South Charlotte. Now again, that's going to be 77 to 74, encompassed within 485. Lots of numbers, I know, but you can see it on the map right here where that section is. It's this lower quadrant of Charlotte. Now, many of my clients are drawn to South Charlotte for so many reasons, and I can see why. Where many of them get deterred from South Charlotte is the prices. And in fact, if you are looking for, let's say, a 4-bedroom, 3,000 square foot home, you're more than likely on average going to be in the 800s. Now, it could be higher, it could be a little bit lower, but in most cases, that's what you're going to be looking at as a moderate assessment. Now, the cool thing about this is there's a lot of variety in South Charlotte. Now, yes, if you're in Barclay Downs, South Park, those main areas there, the prices are going to be much higher, with you not getting into a home for less than probably 1.2 million. But if you're looking in other areas such as Matthews, which is still a part of this, by the way, it's within the Beltline. If you're looking in areas such as Matthews or Sardis Woods, those areas in there, you could potentially find a decently sized home in the 2,500 range with 3 to 4 bedrooms in the $700,000 price range. So there is a wide variety in South Charlotte. Here's the great part. Pretty much anywhere within that lower quadrant, you're going to get exceptional school ratings. I'm talking 9s out of 10s, 10s out of 10s, and yeah, some 8s out of 10s. The challenge with this though, if you've got the better schools, it usually comes with the higher priced homes and vice versa. Now, this could be a chicken or the egg kind of situation, but you're also going to find lower crime rates, as well as more walkability, more shopping, more dining. And to be honest, when we go out to restaurants, we're usually going to areas such as Dilworth, Noda, Plaza Bidwood, as well as South Park, because they have some of the best culinary options in Charlotte. Now, not to say it's the only options, but they have some really great restaurants. Selecting South Charlotte really comes down to lifestyle, price, as well as what you desire. Here's the thing, there are brand new construction properties in South Charlotte, but because there aren't major developments being built out, there are limited options when it comes to the age of your home. And in most cases, when you find a new construction home, they're going to be what we would consider a one-off build, where there was 1, 2, maybe 3 homes built at a time, but it wasn't an entire development. The other unique part of this area of Charlotte, it's the older area. This also incorporates Dilworth and Elizabeth, which sit just outside of Uptown, which are also among the most expensive in Charlotte. Some of the biggest differences you're going to notice going from closer to Uptown, further south, is going to be the property size. That's right. If you're looking in Dilworth, while it's absolutely stunning and I love the architecture, there is no yard. You're not going to get a yard, and you're going to be getting into it for $1.5–2 million. If you go further south, you could potentially be in Raintree for 1.2 million, but you've got an acre of land and it's over 3,000 square feet, potentially even with a basement and a pool. So you're going to notice location definitely matters. And if you are interested in moving to the South Charlotte or other areas of Charlotte, again, my information's in the description below. I can help you further break down and hone in on exactly where you need to be. So leaving the inner Charlotte Beltline, that 45 Beltline, it's time to take a look at the outskirts and some of those main areas right here on the map, just outside of 485. Now we're gonna head counterclockwise on this one, and I'm gonna point out some of the best opportunities for each of these areas. Now there are other areas further outside of 485, of course, but for the purpose of this video, I want to give you a really clear understanding of what you can find close to Charlotte. So starting to the northeast, we have a beautiful little town called Mount Holly. Now, Mount Holly, one of its most popular attractions is the Whitewater Center. You guys have probably heard me talking about this on numerous other videos. It's one of my favorite places in Charlotte. You can go ziplining, rock climbing, listen to bands, drink beer, burgers, and of course, whitewater rafting. It's probably one of the coolest places I've ever seen in the country, and I've been to a lot of places. Definitely worth checking out. So what does Mount Holly have to offer? Well, given it is off to that northwest area of Charlotte outside of the Beltline, prices dropped drastically. There's a lot of new construction going on. Mattamy Homes has some beautiful homes, as does Meritage out that way. And it leads right into Stanley, as well as the Gastonia and Dallas areas. So there's a lot going on, a lot of property, but what you're gonna find most is you've got lower costs. That's right, in order to get into a home in those areas, you actually don't pay nearly as much as you would in some other areas of Charlotte. Why is that? Well, a lot of it has to do with the location. It's further out from Charlotte, the drive time's a little bit longer. Also, it has to do with the availability. Also, it has to do with the homes themselves. A lot of them are a little bit older. They also run a little bit smaller. So if you're looking for one of those larger homes in the 3,000 square foot plus, this isn't gonna be where you wanna go. This area specialty is more of a 3-bedroom, 2-bath kind of neighborhood, but the downtown is absolutely adorable, and I do have a video coming on that soon. As we head south, going counterclockwise on this, we are gonna stumble upon Belmont. Now, right next to Belmont is Gastonia, and I'm gonna touch on this briefly. Gastonia has a bad rap, that is right. And yes, there are areas of Gastonia that are really not that great, but here's what I'm gonna tell you. If you are willing to have the address that says Gastonia, go look on the south side of Gastonia, south-southeast. It is absolutely stunning. Beautiful farmland, horse farms, beautiful homes, and a lot of opportunities for some magnificent homes. In fact, I have one coming to market soon in just over the 1.2 price range. That's 6 bedrooms, absolutely stunning. Yes, these homes exist in Gastonia, and they have some of the most beautiful properties you have ever seen. Now with that, you've got Belmont. Belmont, again, one of my favorites. The little downtown is adorable, but let's talk about pricing and availability. The schools are actually really great. And when it comes to homes, you're looking usually in the 550 range. So it's not something if you're looking for a more affordable area, but I will say the lifestyle is fantastic. Now, the downside to this is you're going to hit traffic right on I-85 coming into Charlotte if that's where you commute on a daily basis. It's the only way in aside from one other south side road, so expect delays. Now, as we head south, staying in the North Carolina area, we have Steel Creek. Steel Creek is a very intriguing area. In fact, it built out very quickly into the southwestern area of it. You've got the Palisades, which is one of the most popular planned communities. We don't have many in Charlotte. The Palisades is absolutely stunning. But as you come into Steel Creek, one of the biggest downsides are the schools. School ratings are some of the worst in Charlotte when it comes to the high school rating, but the prices of homes are quite competitive. In fact, you can get that 3,000 square foot home probably in the mid-5s in this area. So what's causing the pricing? A lot of it does, of course, have to do with schools, but I will say this, if you're not concerned with schools, this may be one of the best places for you to be. Why? You're close to shopping, the Tanger outlets, still close to Lake Wylie, but you're also close to the border of South Carolina. So if you're someone who's commuting, this may be an ideal location. In fact, you're still only 35 minutes from Uptown Charlotte, making it still a great spot if you're commuting anywhere into the Charlotte proper area. So if you notice on our map, we're gonna be skipping over into South Carolina. This little area right in here, right somewhere in here. This little area right here is called Fort Mill, and just south of that is Rock Hill. Now, Fort Mill and Rock Hill are certainly very different. Fort Mill boasts the #1 district for schools in South Carolina, and I get calls all the time about Fort Mill, especially just because of the schools. But some of the other advantages of Fort Mill is there are some beautiful communities with absolutely magnificent homes sitting on large acreage. For example, one of my clients is looking for a ½ acre under 1.2, and guess what? We were able to actually find something in the 900s. Now, to some, that's not a whole lot of savings, but if you were to take that same property and that same home and that same neighborhood and flip it just over the border into Marvin or Ballantyne, you are looking at a much higher price point. Now, Fort Mill right down there is also encompassing the Indian Land area. Now, while Indian Land Fort Mill are of course more expensive than other areas of Charlotte, when you're looking for something competitive with great schools, easy proximity to the Ballantyne area and to Charlotte, this is ideal. It still has a cute little downtown, probably one of the best coffee shops I've ever been in, by the way. Their chai tea is to die for. Just putting that in there. But Fort Mill offers other things such as athletics, great community activities, access to the Catawba River and Lake Wylie, so if you'd like to go rafting, it's a great spot. But it truly is a community where I have noticed, and I've seen the stats on it, it is a great place, especially if you take a look at bestplacestolive.com. It's rated as one of the best places to raise a family. So take it for what it is, take it with a grain of salt, but I think that just about anyone can find something perfect in the Fort Mill area. Now with Rock Hill just to the south of it, yeah, very similar, but they do have a lot of differences. Rock Hill school system is certainly a little bit different. It also has a different price point when it comes to houses. One of the major deficits to Rock Hill is its proximity to Charlotte, because in Rock Hill, you're actually gonna be about 45 minutes to the northern Charlotte area, meaning if you're in traffic, you could be in traffic for about an hour and 15 just to get home or to and from work. This makes it not as advantageous for most, especially being there is not a toll lane. Headed on to the east, we are gonna be right here in Ballantyne. Now, Ballantyne is a very popular area, and a lot of clients who call me from out of state say, hey, I looked up this area called Ballantyne. I think that's where we want to live. Now, while Ballantyne has a lot of the creature comforts and conveniences, one of the biggest challenges is Johnston Road right there. It has some of the heaviest traffic because so many people really do love that area. In addition to that, that is the main thoroughfare that's going to connect Charlotte into Ballantyne, into Indian Land, and all the way down into Marvin. So right down in that area, kind of all strings together. Because it's so heavily trafficked, you're gonna have a little bit of a backup. However, the conveniences outweigh it. The actual lifestyle, the individuals that live there, it's one of the most affluent areas of Charlotte, as is Marvin just below it. And your average home price is gonna be close to the $1 million mark, depending upon what area of Ballantyne you're in. Now, Ballantyne all the way through Providence, Wellington, and scooping up that way following 45 is still going to have some of the top tier schools in the area. That's right, you're looking 9s out of 10s across the board, and this is one of the major draws for people who are looking to purchase in this area. Now, don't get me wrong, if you've got a $600,000 budget, there still are homes for you. I was able to find one of my clients one recently. It just depends upon where in the area you are. If you have your heart set on Ballantyne Country Club, just get ready that it's not going to be less than 1.5. But if you are willing to go outside of that and still have those conveniences, there certainly are plenty of options. Now, as we continue along, you're going to see right in here Weddington and Wesley Chapel. These two areas are also among the top 10 most affluent areas around Charlotte, and you're going to notice that as you drive through. Equestrian centers all over the place and absolutely stunning homes. Now, the nice thing is there's a little something for everyone, and there is a whole lot of new construction that's starting to go on in these areas in a variety of price ranges. Now, you're going to be able to find your $2 million property just as well as you're finding your $550,000 property. But do not expect to go much lower than that. In fact, on average, you're probably going to see homes in the 600 range for something that's about 3,000 square feet, and it goes up from there. Now, that being said, still has phenomenal schools and easy access into Charlotte. Now, one area that I'm not going to go as in depth on is Waxhaw, which is all the way on the bottom right here. Now, I love Waxhaw, and a lot of people that I know that are Charlotte natives also loved Waxhaw, quote unquote, when it was small. Again, the biggest challenge that's facing many areas of Charlotte is the traffic. To get to this location right here, you could be sitting in traffic for over an hour just because that road that goes to Waxhaw has not been expanded. Again, one of the most affluent areas. The schools are phenomenal, and there's some absolutely beautiful developments down in this area. Now, if you're somebody that's going to be working in the area or you work remote, this is not going to be an issue. All of your creature comforts and conveniences are in Waxhaw. Your biggest slowdown is going to be if you have a daily commute into Charlotte. Now, I'm going to encompass this next section of Charlotte all in one, and that is this outer band of 45 that is going to sit to the east of Charlotte. Now, this is going to include Stallings, Indian Trail, Allen, Midland, Locust, as well as Harrisburg, and all the way up into the Kannapolis area and Concord, right up and through there. Now, all of these areas have something in common. Lower prices, slightly longer commutes, but much larger properties. Now, there's one other thing that is in common in this little strip right here, all the way through Concord into Harrisburg, and that's that there's not as much new construction going on. Now, why? Well, it's coming here soon, so you're gonna see more popping up. So depending upon when you're seeing this video, it might have changed already. But there aren't enough permits for sewer hookup. So a lot of the homes out here are going to be on septic. Now, that being said, once the sewer plant is expanded, you're going to see a rapid expansion, as they've already started prepping for it, for larger and more developments out this way. Now, that is a huge win for people that are looking for more cost competitive homes, as well as more options. So be sure that this is coming here soon. Now, what makes these areas wonderful right now? Well, one, you get a little bit of that country feel. You still have the conveniences of shopping, but usually you're going to get a larger home and larger property for way, way less. In fact, many of my clients that are looking for a better deal, we're looking out this way because that's where they're going to get it. Now, again, the downside is going to be your commute times. Out in the Locust and Midland areas, you're going to take Albemarle Road pretty much the whole way in, and that can cause a little bit of a backup. But if you're on off hours, you don't mind the drive, and you've got some audiobooks to listen to, or you work remote, this may be one of the best areas for you to get a little bit of space from your neighbors and get some options. Now, there are some beautiful communities out this way, including those that are actually on the golf course. So if you're looking for variety at a nice cost competitive option, right out here. Now, I will also point out Concord. I love Concord. It's so cute. It's such a cute town. And I haven't done a video on it yet because they're repaving and putting all these beautiful streets in the downtown Concord area. Once it's done, I will show you. Now, one of the beauties of Concord is the fact, or should I say Concord proper, are the beautiful historic homes around it. I'm talking mansions, as well as these beautiful little bungalows. Now, of course, like most areas around Charlotte, the mills are actually very popular, and there are a lot of little mill homes. And if you don't know what this is, I'll give you a quick history lesson. Stick with me here. But when mills were built way back in the day, the owners of the mills would actually build homes for their employees, so they didn't have to travel so far, because many of them did it on foot. They didn't have the income to buy a car or even sometimes a bicycle, so they were hoofing it. That being said, what the owners of the mill would do were build these mill villages and mill homes to allow their workers to live in it. Now, normally they would have them lease these homes, not sell them to them, but lease them. But over the years, as the mills have closed down and been renovated, usually into either condos or even these really cool shopping centers, we now have these beautiful little mill homes that many of them have been regentrified. Absolutely love it. It's just got so much culture and history. This is a lot of Concord. Now, Concord is quite expansive, and you're going to find some beautiful properties even on acres of land. So if you're looking for some more property, this may be where you want to go. Now, you stuck around to the very end, so I'm going to share with you one of my absolute favorite areas of Charlotte. Now, in one of my previous videos when I talked about North Charlotte being the best, this is really what I was talking about. This area, which I would consider in this video, I would call the Lake Norman area, is literally one of the best areas of Charlotte. You've got the lake life feel, a little bit more calm, cool, and collected. Way better prices on homes, especially in the Huntersville area. Huntersville just sits just north of the 45 belt, as you see in this map right here. So it sits just north of the 45 belt, but it also touches Lake Norman. There are a variety of places where you can live in the Huntersville area, but here's the thing. you can get the size and the actual land for a fraction of what you're getting in South Charlotte. And you're still close to all the conveniences. You have Birkdale Village that sits right next to Lake Norman, beautiful community, but you have plenty of shopping and access to the lake and restaurants. You name it, everything you need is there. And I don't know what it is about Lake Norman, but there is a vibe that makes you want to slow down and take it easy, which I love. The other major advantage to being on the north side is because you actually have a toll lane. So you don't have to sit in traffic. It's an option. You can sit in traffic if you want to, or you have the option to pay for the toll lane. That's one of the most wonderful pieces of this. It's not mandatory to take the toll lane. So you'll see me on it half the time if I've got places to go. And there is traffic on I-77 that runs right next to Lake Norman. Now the areas that encompass Lake Norman are, of course, my favorite, which is Huntersville. But as you head up this side of the lake on the east side, next to I-77, you've got Cornelius and Davidson, beautiful historic towns. Davidson College is right there, and probably one of the best places to walk down a little town, Old Town Street in fall, by the way. Followed by Mooresville to the north. And as you go right across on the top of the lake, you've got Sherrills Ford down into Denver. Now, Denver is an expansive town, actually quite lovely, and this is where you're going to find a lot of those larger homes, but at a fraction of what the price you're going to find on the east side. Why? Well, the east side of Lake Norman is convenience. There's also two very large developments, the Point as well as the Peninsula. And both of those, when we talk about price range, are certainly up there. But what you get with that is also the grandeur. Trump National Golf Course is right there. Beautiful, I mean beautiful lakefront properties, and they are very well kept. Now, if you're looking for more of the country club lifestyle, these two developments might be what you want. But if you want to be left to your own devices but still have luxury, maybe Denver is the right spot for you, where you can also still get lakefront, but there are less developments that have HOA, and you have a lot more options for land where you can still build what you desire or build the plans that are already prepared for it from scratch. So plenty of options, but here's the thing. If you are looking for opportunity to have a laid back atmosphere, convenience to everything, opportunities to get to the lake, but to get down into Charlotte in less than 25 minutes, Huntersville is exactly where you need to be. And yes, it's my favorite hands down for many reasons, but hopefully this video helped you determine what might be the area you want to lean towards. There's a lot of options in Charlotte, and honestly, so many beautiful locations for just about anybody's needs. So what are your thoughts on this? I hope I brought some value. Drop it down in the comments below. What area did I miss? What area are you confused about? Or maybe you want more information. I want to make more videos coming out here soon, and I want to directly answer all of your questions. Now, if you have not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I want you to be a part of our community and bring you more and more knowledge about the Charlotte area. And before we go, I want to let you know I really do get calls, texts, and emails every single day from people just like you looking to move to the Charlotte, North Carolina area and South Carolina. And I'm here to help you, whether it's 9 days or 90 days from now, if you're moving across the world, across the country, or just across town. I help my clients buy and sell their properties. All my information is in the description below. Give me a call, a text, an email. And until next time, I look forward to showing you around town. So you're making the move. There's a lot of videos that you can be watching, like this one right here, or maybe even this one. Really either one of these, but honestly, watch both of them because they're gonna help you make the move. Go ahead, pick one. They're both really good.